Hello everybody, hello everyone, and hello to the love lovers, because we're also going to discuss relationships this time around for these first 2 weeks of July. This is Mita, it's Mita speaking, and I am your astrology journalist because I break the news before the news even happen, right? And I mean, at this point, I can also say that I'm an astrological intelligence, which is an invitation to all government bodies to contact me for intelligence, strategic advice, or counsel. I am available. My website has got all my details, but now let's get into the astrology. I have just been made aware that people get my videos in translated or interpreted languages according to their home language. Google or YouTube uses AI to translate what I say, right? And so if you are listening to this in your home language, such as French, Spanish, Urdu, okay, that is not me speaking, that is AI. But if you are listening to this in English, then you are hearing my voice directly. So I just wanted to make that clear in case there are any misinterpretations in what I say, or maybe a voice that is sounding a bit weird, contrary to mine. So this is what's happening, right? So now July, I am looking at the first 2 weeks because the other 2 weeks will be turning things up. Literally, there will be upside down movements that need my entire attention. So I don't want to mix that all up in one video. I want to be as clear as possible, because what will be happening in the last 2 weeks of July is critical and important for people's lives and what would be happening. So then it means that I will make a follow-up video about July regarding the last 2 weeks. So today we are looking at 1 July until 16th July, and then we continue with another video for the other 2 weeks. Why? As I said, upside down, but also there will be retrogrades. Saturn will be going retrograde in the last 2 weeks, and also Mercury. So everything will turn upside down. Do expect a whole lot of contracts, agreements, government relationships just falling apart, even in people's lives, just things falling apart. But I will explain it properly in the next video. So let's get into these 2 weeks for now. I do think that my voice is strong enough to take me through this whole hour of recording, but of course, if it lacks strength as we go, I will be taking breaks per usual, right? Now let's start with the important dates. I mean, my forecast is going to be back and forth, not in flow because of the information that I have and because of the things that I want to talk about, because I want to touch on the general relationships, like your normal relationships, you and your boo-boo, you and your lover, you and your intimate partner, right? But I also want to look at the dynamics of these countries, because it is important to look at their relationships, since they are holding our economy in their hands and therefore our future in their hands, right? So number one, from the 1st of June, right? So why am I saying June, right? Okay, let me come back to July, not June. July. Right. So from the 3rd of July until the 6th of July, right, we should be expecting a lot of information being communicated to us. This is also applying in our relationships, like in intimate relationships, personal relationships. So there will be a lot of information that is vital, that needs to be spoken about. There will be secrets at this time that will also be revealed, because something has been, bickering, and it must now be communicated at this time. There will be a sense of compassion. I'm seeing compassion as well at this time. So 3, 4, 5, 6. So within these 4 days, I'm seeing a lot of compassion. Something must be spoken. We must talk. We must sit down. We need to talk about relationships. We need to talk about our dreams. We need to talk about, what are we doing within the neighborhood? What are we doing for the community? Relationships. So these are the topics that people are talking about at this time. Now, what is critical in terms of global environment, like our governments and our political sphere, and the relationships that are leading us in our lives? I do see a person or somebody who will be coming from the south direction. So if you are in Africa, the information, the critical information or important information that will come to help you will be truthful, but it will be coming from the south direction. So whichever country you're in, if you're in the US, wherever you are in the US, whichever state, but then there will be information coming from the south. So there will be this person for each person or for each country that is going to be delivering an information of enlightenment, something that will give clarity, or let's say like a purpose or an objective, right? But then this is how you would separate that if this information is truthful, is helpful, because at this time there will also be information that is deceitful by purpose. Somebody is trying to deceive you on purpose. Why? Because we have Rahu highly active in terms of aspecting the Gemini sign of communication at this time. But there will be some, as I said, this messenger from the south, wherever you are from the south, will also be very blunt. They will be very direct, okay? They will be hard to convince otherwise, because actually the information that they have is truthful and is of a spiritual nature in terms of its truth, like the weight. It is coming to balance things out, coming to balance out the karma, and actually giving information that will help each party equalize, the ground or the scale or whatever, right? So we are having that on these days. And I do also see there will be deliberate misinformation now from other parties, or even in relationships, not intimate relationship. There would be parties that are rebellious by nature, who then decide to give misinformation and misinform people, right? And I do also see some leaders in the communities that would come up or rise up to be deliberate in informing the community. I do see covert actions. I do see mind games being played. I do see ill-advised actions whereby the counselor or the advisor that is usually looked up on is at this time under a cloud of misjudgment, is at this time under pressure and unable to deliver clear information as it should be the case. But through all of that, as I said, secrets are coming out in any case. Whichever action, misinformation that is being sent out will be exposed in any case. I do see obviously power games as well, but they will be exposed. It's basically just anything that is ill-advised will still be exposed due to the sun factor. Now, when it comes to the governing bodies, so for this period of 1 to June. Why do I keep saying June? I'm so stuck in June. So 1 until 16th of July. All right. I do see when it comes to them a lot of like a need to renew relationships. So it's like here being deliberate on renewing a relationship. I do see that hope, hope, more like a heavenly sent hope, at this time. But, and this, is very important regarding that announcement that I talked about, right? There would be a leader who would be replaced at this time. So but then I do see a possibility of that replacement being temporary. You know how presidents, they have to maybe call in sick, and then they have to have another vice president or whoever be a president for 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, or whatever, until the main president comes back. I do see that from a country whereby they advise some temporary leadership or temporary placement of a leader, or even if it seems as if it's temporary and then maybe later on it becomes permanent, but it would be something that needs to be done quite soon, right? So I do see that shift in the leadership. However, I also do see that there would be 2 or 3 countries that will be working together to attack another country or to overcome another country or to take over another country. So it wouldn't be like the case of how, the US helped, the US bombed Iran, and then by default Israel won, right? It was not an out there support like, oh, we're working with Israel. Even if they were working together, but it was not announced as if they're working together. But now in this case, what I do see here, it would be that case whereby everybody knows that these two countries or three countries are ganging up on this particular country. So I do see that. I also do see a boat or a ship or in the sea getting lost, either getting lost or getting harmed, or a destruction of a ship cargo in the sea. I do see that. And it could also be whereby a case whereby maybe there's a ship that gets lost. Maybe it was going to this direction, and because of a certain event or a certain natural event, such as flooding, because of the nakshatra that we are facing right now in Gemini, then it gets lost. And obviously with that there comes lots of weeping, mourning, and wounding and all of these things, right? So I do see that as well. I do see some winds. So there would be obviously the countries that are now experiencing winter, right? There would be a lot of wind, and the wind would actually be very volatile and destructive. So obviously, because we are talking about Gemini, this will be in the media, in the news. So this is why I'm talking about it, because this is how we can see it. So, but then what I do see, all of these things, all of these catastrophic changes or things that are happening, instability, it is actually preparing for something bigger, something greater, something new. But then we have to go through this stage of experiencing these things, right? So regarding to that leadership shift that I'm seeing, I do see the high possibility of it being short-lived. As I said, something temporary for now, maybe even later on, it becomes permanent, but the intention would be for it to be short-lived, right? So in these communications that people will be talking, sharing at this time, I do see some people in relationships feeling like, oh my gosh, you don't hear me, I keep trying to talk to you, you don't understand you don't want to understand what I say, like feeling a bit of neglected in their communication. But it is also the same way even with the countries, whereby some countries would feel like, we are less than the big dogs. It's only the big dogs that are making decisions for us, or making decisions for the global economy, and we are just being overlooked, we are just burdened. So those types of vibes here we will be seeing them in these first 2 weeks. I do see also some just being tired, just feeling exhausted, right? So I do see the exhaustion coming. Mood swings are going up and down, because remember, Mercury is in Cancer, so lots of mood swings, lots of just emotional instability, and just feeling fatigue, And I also do see moodiness. We are just being so moody in most relationships, particularly those that are affected by Cancer sign. So most of the water signs, in terms of their individual ascendants, I see all of this. And of course, in terms of the countries as well, such as obviously Iran, because it is a Cancer ascendant, and the US is a Scorpio ascendant. So and South Africa is Scorpio ascendant as well. So these types of watery signs would be feeling all of these emotional things, emotional moodiness, and just communication that is upside down, and all of these things, right? But when it does come to what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, so let's continue with that. Jupiter and Sun in Gemini, because I also do see some intellectual stability. Like, this part doesn't go away. Like, there's a lot of intellectual information that is being sent out, between parties. And if it's in your relationship, it's advices of what you need to do to better yourself and all of that. But remember, in the back of your head, that there's the Rahu, meaning that there could be exaggerations, there could be two-faced advices whereby somebody is advising you something, but then they mean something else, or they advising you in your face and then they go backstab you, behind your back. So all of that is highly visible right now at this time. Now, there would be a need, like in the first week now, particularly in the first week, there would be a need to form some diplomatic communications. Like, this is particularly the first week now, whereby, so I would say, like, from the 1st until the 8th of July, right, whereby the people are seeking stability and just a partner to depend on, right? Just like a partner to depend on. However, this stage of, like, the very first week of July, this is what I would call a transitioning stage, because this is the stage whereby we are setting up the stage of what it is to come next. Remember what I talked about the last 2 weeks of July? The first week of July, we are setting up the stage. We are gathering information and also getting misinformation at the same time. So a lot of people want to be remembered at this time. They want their words to be remembered. They want their roles to be remembered. They want to set a mark or leave a mark at this time. I do see some calm, but then there are also, like, these people who are helping in the background. So if it's in your relationship, maybe you have a support system, like your family, like your friends. And then in terms of the global point of view, then we are having other countries that are silently helping a country that is in the media at that time, people are talking about it at that time, or facing a problem at that time. So there's a lot of quiet support that is also being highlighted here at the first week. I also do see around the 6th and the 7th of July now, specifically. So 6th and 7th of July, now this is where danger starts to come up, bit by bit, because this time around I do see, in terms of relationships, there could be a third party, in terms of relationships, that wants to ruin relationships. So people that would be affected by this would be the Libra signs, like Libra ascendant, Aquarius ascendant, and the Gemini ascendant. So basically the air signs would be affected at this time. And because for the Gemini, then Venus is in Taurus, right? We do know that. So it means that it would be in the 12th house. And for the Libra, the Venus was going to be in the 6th house. So if you look at these houses, right, these are critical houses when it comes to third parties, hidden agendas, secretive things. So people just need to be very careful at this time. Now, when it comes to Aquarius specifically, the Venus will be transiting the 4th house. A lot of people who are new to astrology, they take the 4th house as the house that is only about comfort, conveniences, right? But then the old people, the wise ones in this astrology field, they will know that the 4th house is also a house of moksha. This is a house of letting go, because it is where you also relax, right? So you forget about your problems, you're at home. But at the same time, this is where also many abusive things happen at your house behind the doors, whereby nobody else sees things, nobody else sees what's happening. Your neighbors, they don't know what is happening in your house, right? So that is why the Aquarius also has to be careful, because they would be implicated by a possibility of a third party intruding their relationship at this time. Now, obviously, when it comes to countries, now I am seeing 2 countries specifically. These countries would be acting like wolves in sheep's clothing, or how does the phrase go, right? Whichever way it goes. But I do see 2 countries that are working behind the scenes together. They are actually like predators, like just wanting to cause harm and damage. And on the 6th and of the July, this is when they could attack, or they could come up and show whatever danger they have been planning. I do see a lot of intelligence in terms of information being exchanged, throughout the first week. I do see lots of calculation, cunning as well. Strategic information is being placed right now. And what I do see is, it will be like just a bursting of something that has been brewing and brewing and brewing, right? Now, what I do see, with these secretive things and all of that, there is a lot of precision. So whatever action they will take it with a lot of precision, a lot of logic, because remember, when we talk about Gemini, we're talking about an intellectual sign. It is an intellectual sign that is highly informed and actually knows what it's doing. Now, because why 2 countries? I mean, when we talk about Gemini, we're talking about a dual sign. So it is showing me 2 powers, one country, another country, one president talking to another president, colluding, or one leader of a military base colluding with another one. So 2 forces coming in, joining together, and they will come up and just show whatever they've been planning. Now, Moving on, around that again 6th on 7th of July, I also do see some past coming up, like haunting past whereby maybe let's say a country has done something, or a president or a leader had done something, and now it's coming back to haunt them, so to speak, right, around these dates. That means obviously a scandal coming up from the past, like, oh my gosh, this person, this leader had done this and now they're getting exposed. You know, like obviously it would be something who's very charismatic, somebody who's well known, more like a cultural beacon, like an idol, like a celebrity, like somebody who's worshipped basically. So I do see that around the 6th and 7th it would be somebody who's highly worshipped, celebrity, leader or whatever, but then an information would come up about them. They are considered, as I said, as a cultural idol. So this is how we would know. And this is usually somebody who is who outshines everybody else. So it's like it's like an A-lister basically. This is an A-list person I'm talking about, that will be exposed. A scandal will be exposed about this person. So I also do see, what else do I see? Now, when it comes to, let's move on to other dates, because I think I have said everything regarding this Jupiter and Sun conjunction, because it's very important. Remember, when we talk about Jupiter and Sun, we're talking about leaders, the people who lead a community. It could be people who are giving us advices. It could be our pastor at church. It could be our president. It could be anybody that is leading us. So it is important to look at this part, but I think I have exhausted everything. Now let's move on to other dates. And now when it comes to the 7th, 8th, 9th of July, around these dates, 15th, 16th of July, right? Whoa and whoa and whoa, right? In our personal relationships, in our personal relationships, as in intimate relationships, right? I do see people wanting some attachment, like asking for commitment, like please marry me, or would you marry me, or would you marry me? I will marry you, my love. You know, there's that song from South Africa. Let me just play it for you. Maybe it will be copyrighted, I don't know, but this part deserves that song.
I can't wait to marry you, my love. Ooh, my love.
So, you know, so people will be just wanting commitment here. Like, it's been a long time since we've been together. Ooh, let's get married. Hey, let's move in together. I want to move in with you. I want to move in with you. Hey? And when it comes to countries, because I have to also talk about the countries as I've explained, I do see some announcements in terms of countries whereby they will be talking about contracts that they are signing, that they will be signing, or they would be signing, or they've signed at this time. So again, remember the dates is 7, 8, 9, 15, 16 of July. I do see those agreements that will be regarding resources, sharing of resources long term. I do see some investments, talking about investments here, and I also do see a lot of talk about expenditure. maybe they could be trying to restrict, some expenditures locally or internationally, or maybe even the money the money that they send to foreign countries. I see that. And of course, the US is definitely going to be implicated this time around. And possibly Iran is going to be implicated at this time around. So a lot of these announcements would be shown right now. I do see some contracts coming to an end. I also do see some contracts in and people cutting some agreements. It's so sad that I don't have all the ascendants of countries, and that's what I'm trying to do, to get the database so that each country I can talk about it, and my audience can actually know what will be happening to their country. For example, South Africa could also be implicated here. I do see some changes regarding homeland. So it would be perhaps the resources that are within the homeland, or how much the country is sharing their resources with another country. I see that. I see heightened emotions. Oh my gosh, I do see heightened emotions. So if we're talking about diplomats talking about talking together, there would also be some emotions being shared. I also do see, even in parliaments where our leaders talk about policies, I do see heightened emotions at this time. Now it becomes dangerous when it comes to the sea. Anything relating to the sea becomes quite dangerous at this time. I do see some maybe restrictions of policies or restructuring of policies regarding to the sea and the travels regarding to the sea. And it could also be, as I said, danger, just pure danger by sea. I do see some of contracts needing to be restructured because some things are not clear, or maybe some points were not clear, some clauses were not clarified and they need clarification, and so there's a call for that to be clarified. Now, going back to our personal relationships, I do see that loyalty will be in question now. There will be, particularly the first week, there will be a lot of loyalty being questioned. Are you loyal to me? Prove it, prove that you're loyal to me. I need to know, I need to be sure, I need to plan long term with you, because I feel like we are at the end of our relationship, or of a contract, if it's a business contract, or our diplomatic contract, if it's a relationship of countries. So there's that questioning now. And I do see a lot of hidden support, as I say, other people supporting these relationships, whether in our intimate or in our in countries. But now there is a danger of actually lots of contracts not necessarily coming into fruition at this time, like within the first week. Some are just not giving the satisfying result at this time. But then it's not really something to worry about, because there's other weeks people can revise. And remember, as I said, Saturn and Mercury would be going retrograde in the last 2 weeks, so a lot of things would need to be fixed that time, but then I will deal with that later, right? So I do see when it comes to all relationships, really, people just wanting to know what's it in for me, what am I gaining, what am I getting from here, from this relationship, from this contract. I need to know my part. What am I gaining here? All right. I also do see that there would be whereby somebody places you in a corner and they weaponize your vulnerability, or maybe your purity, your innocence. Maybe you don't know much and they use that to their advantage. So I do see a lot of that as well being played at this time, that card coming up at this time. Now, when it comes to boundaries and setting boundaries within these talks and these contracts and all of these things, all right, I do see that third party. As I said, with some people it's going to be a supportive system, maybe your family members, your friends, but then with some people it's going to be direct, just a third party that is wanting to take over your place in that relationship that you have, right? So I do see a lot of triple system, like triple situations, or as I said, 2 countries or 3 countries coming up and forming up a union against another country, to take down another country. But then there's a lot of indecisiveness. So it's really setting up a stage now this first week, setting up a stage of what is to come, and going back and forth, discussing and all of these things. All right, so splitting up into groups as well, maybe saying you focus on this, you focus on that, you focus on this, and all of these things, right? So I do see that. Now, when it comes to the week two, again, that problems at the sea, they keep coming up. Because, when it comes to certain, being in Pisces, you have Mercury in Cancer. Then you have Adra as in Gemini being activated by Jupiter in Saturn. There's a lot of watery storm happening that we are facing at this time. So I also do see that when it comes to our relationships, like our close relationships, right? There's a lot of codependency. So it's like people want to commit because they're scared to be alone, or they're scared to act alone. Same thing with the countries, whereby they form up together to say, okay, if we team up against this country, we have a high chance of winning at this time, right? So I do see that. So protecting our resources, this is the best way to do, right? So another thing that I do see is particularly around the 7th. Yeah, so 7th becomes that last part of so between the 7th and the 6th and the 7th, as well as the ending 13, 14, 15, 16. I do see another possible wounding or something being broken, whereby maybe it's a contract that is being broken, or a country agrees to do something and then all of a sudden now they say we are out, we're no longer part of this. And in our relationships, a partner that was promising as if they are all in, all of a sudden they just say, no, actually I'm tired. I feel like you don't see me, you don't hear me, so ciao. I just can't do it. Right. So again, in terms of our relationships or personal situations, the Cancer sign, the Pisces sign, and the Scorpio ascendants would be the ones that are looking at the end of the road type of a situation. End of the road, it's either this or the relationship is done. We need to make each other feel good, or this relationship is kaput, it's finished, right? So yeah, there's a lot of codependency, and I do see lots of social withdrawal as well, whereby these ascendants, they feel like they're just tired. They're just tired to participate socially. They're tired to please, anyone. They just tired, right? Like they're reaching their end. Like it's just like that edge, that end of the road type of a situation, right? And of course, strength to you guys. And now when it comes to the 2nd and the 3rd, okay, so 2nd, 3rd, 11th, 12th, 13th of July. Whoa, 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 whoa. All of a sudden now things are changing. What we knew, we don't know anymore. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of movement, a lot of sudden things happening, destruction coming out of nowhere, breakups in our relationships coming out of nowhere, power play, governments, personal relationships, everybody's just wanting to induce pain on the other or feeling pain from the other. Lot of up and down right now, and families would be affected, resources would be affected, trust would be affected. Status is actually all about status right now, and feeling like people want to belong. Transformation, this is like a forced transformation that is just boof, just boo 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 boo. So so these dates within that first week become just wow. Now remember, Venus is in Taurus. Venus is in Taurus in its own house. So usually what you would hear is that Venus is going to do great things. Venus is going to give stability. Venus is going to give yum, 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 delicious, delicious. Give me some more, 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 more. Yes, please. But it's not going to be like that this time around. As I said last time, it was nice for the 29th and the 30th of June because those were the times when Venus was entering Taurus, good times. But now Venus here is directly meeting with Uranus and, in this sign of sudden things. But on this dates that I just said, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, and there's a Pluto activated as well. And Pluto is all about what? Death, destruction, transformation, forced transformation, going upside down, taking you in so that we can see you outside, or taking you outside so that we can see you inside. Changing you from one form into another form, right? This is what's happening now. It is all forced. So I do see scandal, I do see rage, I do see misfortune. I also do see a downfall or a sudden change of, powerful people at this time, or a powerful country, or a powerful Nompoteki as well. I also do see a lot of fear coming up at this time, this week, on these days, particularly the second. My gosh, second and third, just like chaos. Now there is a woman, of course, or when it comes to celebrities, or leaders, or powerful leaders, but there is a woman who is, or who has been known as a rebellious person, who has been speaking honesty unfiltered, who has a raw power, like just a feminine rage, like just a storm, right, before the renewal. So this woman would be targeted because this woman has been watched, and people do fear her, her truth. They want to censor her, and she's uncensorable. She can't be censored. So they want to censor her. They feel like, her voice is going against them. Or it could be women, not just maybe one woman, but it could be women, but it's going to be a female that has been speaking up, for, her views, her personal belief systems, and maybe fighting for a cause. And some people don't like that. And those people, they want to interrupt that power that she has. They want to place her in danger. Again, remember, I'm talking from astrology, everything. So let me use the word everything is alleged here. It is all speculation. I'm talking from astrological point of view. But they want to place her in dangerous situation to take her feminine power away. They want to contain it. She's been speaking, she's uncontainable, so they're planning to contain that. Or if it's a group of women, these people they want, or their enemies, or obviously man most of the time, they want to control them, censor them, instill fear in them, right? So I do see scandal coming up, and in some harsh cases it could be so extreme to the point of maybe just doing something to the body, like removing parts of bodies. So I do see something so gross like this, right? Then I also do see around around the 6th, the 7th, again, going back to that 6th and the 7th, around the 6th, the 7th, within that first week, I also do see a celebrity, somebody who's absolutely loved, somebody who's revered, followed by everyone, going through a transformation, a certain transformation, like a grieving, maybe grieving something, maybe their spouse passes away at the sea or something like that, or drowns, or something like that, right? Or what else could be dangerous? Maybe self-harm, self-removal, just like grief, like I do see that grief situation regarding somebody who's known, somebody who's loved. And at the same time, there is a good news, because I do see some people who are reliable and who are wise and who want to keep things traditional. So when we say traditional, like they don't want new ideas, they want to keep, because remember, when we talk about Uranus, we're talking about destabilizing what is known, what is usual. And because this is Taurus, we're talking about family structure. So there is a lot of force that wants to destabilize families, a as we know them, like just change the whole family structure, redefine what family is, redefine what resources family have. So there is a lot of that need to destabilize families. But I also do see, as I said, some people who want to keep the legacy, because remember, Saturn is making its third aspect to Taurus. So Saturn is here to say, no way, no way, we're not going to destroy our traditions. We're going to be fair, we're going to look for justice, we're going to keep things traditional. So there are stern people who would come up anyway and defend structures that are old, structures that are traditional around the same time, right? And these people would also be people who are not necessarily seen as leaders, but because of their voice, they rise up into great leadership. So it's like they've been working behind the scenes and now they just come up with their voices, right? I also do see when it comes to like our relationships now, a lot of people, particularly the earth signs in relationships, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, I do see a lot of feeling like you guys are holding so much burden. So maybe burdens of your families, burdens of your responsibilities, but you carrying, literally, like you feel like you're carrying things, or you're carrying people on your back, or you have them on you, but at the same time you are expected to be independent, to endure the pain and all of these things. But right now this is a turning point, because whatever misdirection that you've been having or feeling or receiving, and making you act without a purpose, right now that could be challenged. So all your unfulfilled desires or greatness could be demanded now to come up to shore, like to show your brilliance, to show your leadership, to show your strength at this time. All right, so I do see that. I also do see, because of that Saturn making the third aspect to Taurus, feeling like we need to keep up the legacy. And also remember, Ketu is still in Leo, also needing or requiring people to remember their legacy. As I've said, at the beginning of the year when I made my video about Ketu and legacy and history and ancestors, this is where we come from, right? So Saturn here is protecting the lineage, protecting the family structure, to want to keep it as it is, not for it to be tainted, not for it to be changed into new ideologies, right? So Saturn is saying no, keeping everything, right? But what is not being seen is because Uranus takes a long time to move. So what is happening is that even with the rebellion or the restrictions that Saturn is coming with, once Saturn moves out of Pisces, there will be a collapse, because what's happening now is a silent collapse of family structure. And thank goodness, for Saturn to be in Pisces right now to hold that structure. But after 3 years, after this 3-year period, then you will see a total collapse or a total change in the family dynamics, right? So I do see that. I also do see, so I would say on the 1st of July, so maybe it could start even midnight 30th. What's the date today? Let's look at the date. Or it's the 30th, my goodness. Okay, so I could start even like right now, since I'm recording this video, because it's midnight, right? So I do see some violence. It's going to be coming from a masculine energy, so it could be a masculine country, like a country that is like it's all about masculine, like man, women, right? I do see that. I do see some dangers of you know, cutting by sword. So basically, if you are cutting food or whatever, right, you just cut yourself or something like that, or some strike by an equipment like that. I do see that. But at the same time, there's a lot of ruthlessness or blind execution. It reminds me of these countries that are right now executing our spies. So I do see that. So as I said, it could be like starting already today and tomorrow, whereby a lot of people get executed, and so some violence, or really masculine violence. I also do see that around the 5th, there could be relationships at this time. The religion, like, people just need to tend to their relationships, because I do see some family members maybe going quiet at this time. Maybe you are expecting your cousin to call you and they don't call you today, but I do see that. And when it comes to global relationships, whereby I know maybe there's a diplomat that goes missing, or somebody that is of high value goes missing and they can't be found, or and they just fade away. So I do see all of these things. What else? So basically just the first week is as I said, is setting out stage, but it's not setting out stage in a very rosy way, right? So I also do see in the second week so let me just summarize it. Like, first week and second week are just setting out stage, and most of the things are not as rosy as you would expect for when Venus is in Taurus, due to Uranus being here with the Venus, and also at the same time having Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn is the battlefield. Capricorn is also the status. It is also the karma as well. This is the place of karma. And when we talk about Pluto, we're talking about transformation, we're talking about death, rebirth, we're talking about themes of abuse, we're talking about themes of extreme violence and fire and all of these things, right? So that's how I can describe this, because then it's going to help us not dwell so much into the tough side. Yes, but what is required? Let me speak about what is required, because then it will be a bit light. What is required right now is people to rely on themselves and not feel burdened by succeeding alone at this time. Because I do see some people would be, or some countries would be kind of feeling lonely with their success, and with some people feeling they can approach them, but that's okay for now, because the bigger picture is coming, right? And I also do see the need, obviously, to talk, but to be talking truthfully to avoid those misinformations and all of those things, right? And at the same time, as I said, we would be having people who are watching, supporting, which is also good. I also do feel, I also do see there's a lot of, being independent, which is also, again, great and good. So those are the positives that people can rely on, and also relying on the truth, supporting the truth, whatever truth it is, right? And having moral courage, all right, particularly around the 16th. Gosh, this time moral courage is required. Absolutely, right? So what else? So critical dates as well: 11, 12, 13, 2, 3, even the first, as I said, even like now, midnight, right? Because what is also happening, as I said, we must remember Mars is still with Ketu in Leo. They're still together, and they still causing tension, wanting to fight for their own land, for their belonging, for their heritage, for their ancestors. This is an ancestors, being fought for, like their rights, birthright. So protecting the king with the kingdom, right? So people are really willing to go all out and just fight to the end, or till the end, for the legacy to continue. Now, around the 9th, 10th, 11th as well, I do see fighting when it comes to the global world. Fighting, defending your legacy, defending your homeland, your lineage, your pride, your kingdom. I see that, right? But at the same time, I also do see some people wanting freedom now, being courageous, saying this is enough. Because remember, Ketu is a distancer. Ketu will separate you from even bondage, or being imprisoned. When Ketu comes, it will say it's enough. So I do see that energy, even in our relationships. The fire signs like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, these are the signs that would be wanting some freedom now. If they feel like the relationship is stifling, the relationship is not growing, the relationship is abusive, they are going to say it's enough. I have the courage. I just want to isolate myself. I cannot deal with this, right? And so basically just wanting to remove themselves from chaos. That's what I see for these dates. But then I also do see some unhealed resentment, whereby they would feel like they've been taken care of, maybe their partner or their friends or whatever, their family, but then nobody's saying thanks to them. So I see that resentment for these 3 signs. I also do see some people feeling like what they've done is being forgotten. It's like they've been doing a lot of stuff, but then people only remember the bad things. They never remember the great things that they did, right? So that is highly visible here. And people should just, people shouldn't focus too much on the wounding, the hurting, the mourning, the cutting, the fighting, defending, attacks, all of these things that Mars and Ketu are bringing at this time, right? And just remember their strength, remember partnerships, remember loyalty, their lineage and their legacy, right? Legacy. And continue to be independent thinkers that they are, right? And yeah, I mean, also going back to the countries, like I said, with the synastry of Iran and Israel. Israel does have a lot of allies, but then some of those allies are, changing their minds. They can't be relied on. So there's a lot of duality as well when it comes to power structures, whereby some allies are not necessarily supportive as they appear to be. All right, so I do see that. And within the second week, so around the 10th, 11th, I do see a ceremony or some ritual cleansing that maybe a country would do. There are these countries who believe in these things and who do these things. So this would be, that time, or maybe we just hear about somebody, doing a cleansing, maybe a general cleansing or something like that to renew the energy. I don't even know, maybe it's one of those celebrations in Asia, like India. I do know India, they do a lot of ritual celebrations. Maybe it would be something like that. And this time I really don't know, but then that's what I see from the planets, that there would be a country that does this at this time. What else do I see? I do see a country or maybe a diplomat of a country that would be compromised. So it's like their protection is revealed, or they were undercover and they get revealed here. So I do see that around those dates, 10th, 11th, 12th, an undercover diplomat or undercover spy, whatever, being uncovered at this time. I see that. But for now, I'm going to say thank you. I will chat to you soon on the next one. Bientôt and ciao.